I used to take the late bus home every night, my headphones drowning out the world, until one evening, a peculiar woman sat beside me. Her eyes were a shade too bright, and her voice carried an urgency that made my skin prickle. "You've got shadows," she whispered, her gaze darting nervously to the empty space behind me. "They're watching." I laughed it off, convinced she was just another eccentric passenger, until I caught a glimpse of something dark and shifting in the reflection of the bus window. It was then I felt a cold finger of fear trace down my spine, as if the shadows were reaching for me, eager and hungry. The next few days were a haze of paranoia. The shadows clung to me, lurking at the periphery of my vision, always slipping away when I turned to confront them. I tried to dismiss it as exhaustion, stress from work, but every time I thought they were gone, I'd see them again, darker, closer, more defined. One night, as I walked home, the streetlights flickered and dimmed, plunging the road into a suffocating darkness. I could hear them now, a soft rustling like dry leaves, whispering my name from the shadows that pooled around my feet. Desperate for answers, I returned to the bus, hoping to find the woman who had warned me. She was there, as if waiting, her eyes meeting mine with a knowing sadness. "They've marked you," she said softly. "They feed on fear, and the more you acknowledge them, the stronger they become." Her words echoed in my mind, a chilling revelation that sent my heart racing. I glanced around, the shadows more pronounced, writhing like living smoke. They were no longer content to follow, they were closing in, eager to consume. In a panic, I ran home, locking the door behind me, but the shadows were relentless. They seeped through the cracks, filling the room with their oppressive presence. I could feel them pressing against my skin, cold and suffocating. As I huddled in the corner, the woman's warning played on a loop in my mind. I understood now, the shadows weren't just following me. They were waiting, biding their time. And as the darkness enveloped me, I realized with a chilling certainty that I wasn't alone in the room anymore. I always thought my blog about urban legends was a harmless hobby. It started as a way to explore the eerie tales that populated my childhood nightmares. I never imagined that my playful dalliance with folklore could unravel the boundaries between myth and reality. It all began to change when a peculiar comment appeared beneath my latest post about the Jersey Devil. "You got it wrong," the message read, "and they don't like being misunderstood." I dismissed it as a prank, until a chilling wind blew through my apartment that night, carrying with it the faint scent of sulfur and the distant echo of flapping wings. The next day, I awoke to find a trail of hoofprints burned into the wooden floor of my living room, leading ominously to my bedroom door. Panic set in as I recalled the legends that spoke of the creature's fiery gaze and insatiable hunger for retribution. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, a lurking presence that seemed to seep through the walls. I spent hours researching, desperate to correct any inaccuracies in my posts. But the more I delved, the more I realized that these beings were not mere figments of imagination, they were ancient, powerful, and deeply offended. As night fell, my apartment transformed into a theater of shadows, each one more sinister than the last. I heard whispers in languages I couldn't comprehend, voices demanding justice for stories gone awry. The air grew thick with the scent of earth and decay, and I knew I was no longer alone. My fingers trembled over the keyboard as I typed, trying to appease the unseen audience with tales of truth and respect. But no matter how diligently I worked, their presence only grew stronger, more insistent. In the final act, the air turned frigid, and the lights flickered ominously. A figure emerged from the darkness, a twisted amalgamation of features from every legend I had ever chronicled. It spoke with a voice that resonated through my very bones. "Tell our stories true, or we shall take yours." The revelation hit me like a cold wave. I was now the keeper of their truths, bound to a pact I never agreed to. The creatures demanded accuracy, and my life depended on it. As the figure faded into the night, I realized that the stories I once controlled now controlled me, and my blog was no longer just a hobby, it was a lifeline. It started as a curiosity, a flickering set of lights dancing across the night sky above the dense forest bordering my small town. Every evening, I'd find myself drawn to the spectacle, feeling a strange connection to the luminous display. But as the nights passed, the lights seemed to grow bolder, more focused, and soon, they weren't just in the sky. They began to follow me, weaving through the trees, whispering secrets from a past I buried deep within my mind. A chill ran down my spine as I realized they were pulling me back to a time and place I never wanted to revisit. The first time the lights followed me home, I thought I was imagining it. Their glow seeped through my bedroom window, casting eerie shadows on the walls. I could hear faint echoes of laughter, the kind that used to haunt my nightmares. As I lay there, paralyzed by fear, I remembered the woods where I once played as a child, the dark spot where something terrible happened. I had convinced myself it was just a dream, a figment of my imagination. But the lights knew the truth, and they were intent on making me remember. Desperate for answers, I ventured back to the forest. The lights hovered above me, guiding me to the very spot where my childhood innocence had been shattered. It was there, amidst the rustling leaves and cold earth, that I saw it, a small, weathered box half buried in the ground. My hands trembled as I unearthed it, the memories flooding back with each turn of the key. Inside, I found relics of my past, a broken toy, a faded photograph, and a letter I had written but never sent. The words were a confession, a plea for forgiveness to a friend I'd lost in a tragic accident. As I stood there, The lights encircled me, their intensity growing until they were blinding. I could no longer ignore the truth. The lights had come to remind me of my guilt, to force me to confront the darkness I'd tried to forget. And as they dimmed, leaving me alone in the quiet of the night, I understood that they had been a part of me all along, a spectral reminder of the memories I could never escape. I turned away from the forest, my heart heavy with the knowledge that some shadows never fade.